guys, we're bored in the house, we're bored in the house, so I want to show you how to make old-fashioned roll biscuits, the kind that my grandmama used to make and my sweet mother-in-law, Sybil Skipper, used to make. Now I'm having to use what I have because we are quarantined and some stuff is not on the shelf. I'm going to use this Clover Valley self-rising flour, which came from the Dollar General. I actually love White Lily self-rising flour or Martha White self-rising flour. So I'm very interested to see what this Clover Valley is going to do. I hope it does great. The first thing I do is I grease my iron skillet. Everything tastes better in an iron skillet. And I'm going to set my oven at 350 degrees to warm my oven. I'm also going to need some Crisco shortening or whatever kind of shortening you have, Crisco shortening, buttermilk, which is also probably, this is a Foodland brand, it's going to do just fine. And I need my sifter, okay? I like to let my buttermilk sit out for just a little bit before I use it because I hate how cold it gets when I put it in my hands. All right, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our flour. There's nothing in our bowl. We're going to take our flour and put it into our sifter. I looked and looked for a sifter because my mother-in-law always uses a sifter, and I finally found one on Amazon, and I'm actually going to let Kayla do the sifting of the flour. And so we filled our sifter up, and she is turning it and letting that flour fall into the bowl. And so she is a very good helper. So we're going to sift our flour into the bowl. A fun fact, I've got Kayla to pull her hair back, and my Aunt Naomi was a very country cook. And years ago, she would actually put a pair of underwear over her head whenever she would cook because she didn't want any hair to get into the food. So we just use a ponytail holder today. I don't think I could convince Kayla to doing that. Okay, so she's going to keep sifting, and we'll get back to the next step. Kayla has our flour sifted, and so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a hole. Just burrow out a little hole right in the center of that flour. Don't go all the way down to the bottom of your bowl, but do get a good size hole right there. And then I'm going to put just one big scoop of Crisco. Maybe I want a little bit more than that. So I'm going to do our Crisco right down in that hole. Now I have a cup of buttermilk, and I'm going to pour it right over that Crisco down into our well, I think is what some people call it, down into that well. It overflowed some. Then you take your hand and you just squish that grease. The Crisco, squish it into the buttermilk. We're going to do that for a little bit. After you have it pretty much mixed up in that buttermilk, we're going to pull some of the flour into it. And so the way that we do that is we're going to start just moving your hand softly round and around and pulling that flour from the sides of that wall. Just keep stirring. Stirring and gently pulling the flour from the sides. Okay, you can see that it's starting to turn into a good little flour ball. You don't want to get it too dry, because if we get it too dry, then our biscuits will be too dry. But we just keep turning this ball until we get it to a good consistency where we can actually take it and roll it and make biscuits. Okay, I cleaned the excess dough off my hands, and now I'm going to take some of the flour that's down in the bowl and flour my hands really good. And I'll put a little bit of flour over the dough just to make it not so sticky. Then you pull up a piece of your ball of your dough, and now we're going to form it. We're going to form it into a ball and gently cup your hands on both sides and put your biscuit dough ball inside your hand. And then you want it kind of fat so it'll rise up really pretty. And then we're going to put it in the pan, in the iron skillet. And you can see what a pretty ball that is forming. I think that cloverleaf flour looks like it's going to do well. I don't have a lot of cracks in my dough. The larger you make your dough in your hand, the larger ball you make, the bigger the biscuit will be. I've heard some people call them cat head biscuits if you get them, you know, really, really big. Just roll it. See how it's making a cave right there, a crack right there. So I'm going to have to roll it a little bit more. And then I'm going to put it in the iron skillet with sides touching. Now, Kayla and I roll the biscuits, and I think we ended up with 12 biscuits, and this is what it looks like in the skillet. And we're going to place it in the oven, and I'll show you the finished product. I am so excited. All the biscuits are cooking and getting ready. I am going to make some delicious country Conecuh sausage. If you have never tried these, you just do not know what you're missing. They are amazing. We put a little bit of grease in our iron skillet, and we're going to let that get a little hot, and then we'll cut our sausage up and put it in there. And after that, I'm going to make some tomato gravy. I can't wait to show you the process of the tomato gravy. Wow, now doesn't that look yummy? That will make your tongue slap your mama, let me tell you. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to take my grease that I just fried my my sausage in, and I'm going to add some all-purpose flour to make some brown gravy. And I guess you just add some. The first time I made gravy, someone told me you add some flour to your grease, and I added a whole cup. So you can imagine that I had gravy forever. So I'm going to let that cook a little bit, and I'm going to let it brown. I need to put some salt and some pepper in it, and then I'll get back to you what we do next. Okay, I added salt and pepper and that flour to my grease. I'm just kind of letting it cook a little bit and brown some. And then now I'm going to add, doesn't that look beautiful? Man, that looks so good. Now I'm going to add some water. To make my gravy. Yummy, yummy, yummy. See, I've got it a little thick, so I'm going to add some more water so it won't be so thick. Oh man, that is looking delicious. Now, something we do in South Alabama, I'm not sure, I haven't found a lot of people in North Alabama that do this, is we add a can of, let me see, can you see this, Trinity? We add a can of tomatoes. My sister actually used whole tomatoes, which are absolutely delicious, but all I have is a can of petite tomatoes that are diced. And so I'm going to add that to my brown gravy and let that cook. I may have to add a little more water because of the amount of flour I use. I got it a little thick right there. So I'm going to let that cook, let that simmer. Man, that is looking delicious. My boys and girls will absolutely love this. This is what we call tomato gravy. And we're going to eat it with our homemade biscuits and our Conecuh sausage. That's what we're having for lunch today. I wish you guys could smell this. It is smelling good, and we are just excited about it. I cooked these for 35 minutes, and this is what the finished product looks like. I actually put it on broil for just a little bit and browned it on top, and I browned it a little bit longer than what I like. But we are excited to have this with some tomato gravy and biscuit and sausage. I'll give you the results in just a little bit. All right, here is the test. Uh-oh, wait a minute, look at this one. This guy, he's hoping that Daddy drops some crumbs. Here's our first test to see how this is going to taste. That looks delicious. Some people put their tomato gravy over their biscuits. Some people eat it on the side, like Mickey's gonna eat his on the side. And when you look at these biscuits, we had former state representative Richard Laird came and ate lunch with us one time, he and his lovely wife Peggy, and he calls these ugly biscuits. We never invited him back again. Just kidding. We're hoping he'll come eat with us soon and have an ugly biscuit with us. All right, Mickey, you get to try it.
Yay.
We're trying that new kind of flour, cloverleaf flour from the Dollar General. It looks good. The biscuits turned out looking good, and he gets the first bite. Okay. Yep, kind of hot.
Absolutely delicious. Think about it.
What do you think, Flash? You want some? Yay! All right, guys. I hope you try that at your house. Gravy, biscuit, and Conecuh sausage.
Wow.
Yay! This makes my heart happy.
This is
Yay!
so good.